And welcome to another edition of XFeed. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, we're going to go over like a lot of negative headlines. We're going to go we're going to go through some like positive things as well, but a lot of what today's stream is going to be is about perspective. Obviously, there was the big White House crypto summit today. I didn't get a chance to watch it live. However, when I opened the news feed after it happened, we got people saying it was just a glaze fest. We got people saying that was a complete waste of time. We got everybody saying, all right, we need to just like move on from all these shenanigans and actually have something that ends up, resulting in something a little bit better. So well, we'll see what happens with the markets and everything else. But thanks so much for tuning on in. Let's get into it. We're seeing the connection between AI and blockchain and a lot more tools for people to come out. And I think if you're not in the space, you don't realize how often tools are getting brought on board. So here's one that's based on music.
Do you like the Beatles? Do you like Daft Punk? Do you like NWA? Do you like Kendrick? Do you like Radiohead? Because every one of those people pushed technology in some way and pushed the relationship between music, creativity, and the recording process. So here's a new opportunity to do that. You don't get that a lot.
So this is a music generating platform. So if you're somebody that creates content of any sort, you're wanting to have a sound bed, you're do producing of some sort, ethically trained, we'll see what happens with it. Is connected with Featureverse, but excited to see more of these tools rolling on out. All right. So I've talked about Bill Noble before. I really enjoy his show. Highly recommend. Goes live pretty much every single day. It does have like Patreon, all that other kind of crazy stuff if you're wanting to get direct access to him. But he went on this tear the other, well, I guess I should say a couple weeks ago, where he talked a ton about this not Pat McAfee, Jesus Murphy, not the sports guy, John McAfee, the famous individual who is no longer with us, but there was this AI agent that was created around his likeness. They used the official accounts, and there was all this hoopla around it. Now, he's committed to, building around that, but at the time I was like, this seems kind of weird that there's such a focal point on a X account, essentially. And I noticed the other day, he made this comment saying, I know they don't care about free speech. X banned an AI agent resurrecting the late John McAfee. And I was like, okay, so if we're having these narratives and these concepts around things, I think it is terrifying that there is such an emphasis on like a singular platform for this thing to succeed. So that's one of the biggest cases for myself of being like, all right, these AI agent concepts are kind of cool, but building it around like a personality and a platform that could get taken down because it's automated terms of service, whatever it is, maybe decentralized platforms, the silo spaces thing that Aaron's been talking about, maybe that opens it up in a different realm. But even with that, you're going to have to somehow get people off of X over there. Maybe it's a combination of somehow there's a feed. There's just barriers to everything. So Jason Brink, one of the original big team members at Gala Games, says, I am hearing Go Gala Films, which is another entity of Gala Games because they're doing a bajillion things, announced a partnership with LGE Global, which is LG Global, like the electronics, like the TVs, as a leak on a stream. I was unfortunately otherwise occupied. Did anyone else hear this? So, oh God, somebody put the price chart. The chart is friggin' awful. God, everything with Gala, my goodness. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm pretty sure that Illuvium, if you guys know that big Web3 game, had a partnership with Samsung at a point. And the question kind of around that is like, all right, so does like the Illuvium game somehow get integrated on TVs? And this is something that people can play on their TVs and it's a new smartphone. Are they advertising in different electronic stores where Illuvium's there? Are they able to partner? Is this something where they're selling items within games? And so that's kind of the same question here with this LG Global is like, what exactly is that partnership overall? Trevor.btc saying Ordinals is dead because we let too many teams extract millions without reinvesting it back. I mean, we could say the same thing about Ethereum NFTs and a lot of other ecosystems. Ordinals will rise again, but let's not make the same mistakes again. Support the real builders who are shipping every day and returning more value than they share. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so just to highlight this aspect, this is like the recurring theme for everything, always and forever. Like this is we can pretty much throw anything for ordinals, you know what I mean? Like replace ordinals with almost anything within Web3, and there you go. Super interesting here, where I saw one of the teams from the Root Network. Well, sorry, they're not a team on the Root Network, but there's somebody who's building a mint on the Root Network. And we actually interviewed them. We do have the interview posted if you go check that out on the YouTube page. But mint update, hey Tattoo World fam, we've made the tough call to push back our mint date due to current market conditions. Don't worry, this extra time let us fine tune some next level integrations we've been building for over a year. So, I mean, yeah, the Root Network's not really got a huge user base right now. There's probably like 200 of us actively doing something on there. And even then, it's like checking out occasionally as we got Corwin 43 coming through with a fat 15 months. Holy sweet suffering. Succotash. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Corwin. Love seeing you in the chat a little bit more recently as well. Appreciate you. So, again, I think this is probably a smart move. We had some teams that were able to mint out NFTs a little bit earlier, but right now the network just doesn't have the traction, the pizzazz, or the user base to really handle it. So I don't think this is necessarily a terrible idea. Wait until hopefully there's more people to interact with it. Japan moves to not splash. We're not at a water park. Crypto taxes. Ruling party proposes 20% flat tax, same as stocks. So this is monumental if this happens. If you recall, a couple of years ago, maybe not even a couple, but like a year ago, there was all this notion around, well, can you go somewhere geographically to succeed financially because you're so heavy into crypto, and other countries have better taxes, laws around crypto. It goes on, right? And Portugal was a huge place, and there was other, like Gibraltar was a place where we actually interviewed some teams that were out of there way back in the day. And people, that was like a concept. And I went to one of the events in Toronto. Yo, Tito's, what's going on, you beauty? Back in, well, I guess it was last year, maybe it was the year before, but it was the Futurist conference in Toronto. And one of the speaking panelists was like a group of 3 to 4 individuals. And they were like basically shilling where they were from and saying, yo, come here. We have these things, invest, bring your company, live with us, yada, yada. Kind of like the Cayman Islands thing where like every crypto entity is based out of there. This is the same concept, but the reason to bring up the story, because that's not really related to this, but it's just that concept. We don't see that brought up anymore, but at one point it was huge. Remember when Steve Aoki, the DJ, sold $5 million worth of NFTs during the Nifty Gateway DJ Meta back in very early 2021? He followed it up a year later with a $25 million sale of Aoki credits and Passport, only to sell off his entire personal NFT collection shortly after and slip away unscathed. So back to the point about ordinals, this is that round circle moment where it's like we can replace ordinals with anything within the space. There's a lot of extraction, and it does not matter. I will repeat, you can do the most heinous things in Web3, and it legitimately doesn't matter apart from SBF. SBF, I think, is like one of the very few people out there that got totally screwed. Also, did you see today? So if you missed yesterday, the stream, we didn't really do like a normal stream, and I apologize for that. But what we did do, and it's a fantastic interview if you just watch the middle of it. The ending of it was kind of like, the beginning of it didn't really set it up very well. But yesterday, Corwin and the gang and I, we watched it, and in the middle, you get the muffin economy, you get insights about Gary Gensler, they talk about the situation surrounding him. And today, news broke that interview wasn't like approved, so he was now moved to solitary confinement. And you're like, wow, what a turn of events. And the things are going to get more lax in the US. So that's actually a great point too of, all right, well, what if you go move to some other, not state, but, country for like crypto regulations? And then it's like, whatever. Okay, so ignore the tweet for a second. I want to just highlight this image. So right here above. Okay, so we have Pudgy Penguins. We have the Utes from the D-Gods. We have a Doodle. We have an Azuki. We have a Bored Ape. Okay, great. You passed the test, I bet. But the point being is this is highlighting everybody, and it gives everybody within Web3, well, in quotes, if you can't see me and you're listening on audio, something to appreciate about this imagery where it's not just, okay, if you have a Pudgy and you think the art's cool, there you go. It's relatable. It's something that everybody can get into. I'm telling you, whenever there's a thing, whatever that thing is in Web3 that brings everybody together that they actually care about, and it's not only about money, holy smokes. Just a reminder again, speaking of money, you ever been denied a mortgage? Well, that's how this platform got figured out. PWN, they call it a DAO, but it's a site, borrow, lend, all that kind of crazy stuff. We do the RWA Segments podcast. If you check out the link in the description below on YouTube or on my bio on X, we have a whole slew of people. We do actually have an interview with Luke Netz way back last year, and a lot of really, really cool, insightful information. So if you're like, hey, you know what? It would be cool to go to like a crypto conference instead of going out there paying all that money and going and walking and learn from a bunch of booths, maybe tune into that show and you'll hear a bunch of products, bunch of people, fun stories, and you get to relive some things from the past when we go over certain stories you might have forgotten about. Pudgy Fitness, saw this on my timeline. We are just taking whatever brand that it may be, the IP, and just saying, hey, we're going to do fitness, hey, we're going to do food, and damn it, it might just well work. The Pudgy Fitness revolution is coming. We were getting ready to support the community in reaching their fitness goals and live healthier, more well-balanced lives. Stay tuned. And again, people that would never look at fitness in any kind of capacity, maybe they have a Pudgy Penguin, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you know what? Let me go check this out. And maybe it changes their life. Who knows? Who knows? Going back to Ape Fest. The New York Pier was actually kind of crazy. Also, holy smokes, is New York expensive if you're not taking the subway and you're trying to do Ubers and it's rush hour, and yeah, I wasn't really expecting what it is, but the pizza's pretty damn good. We got pizza a couple times. Holy smokes, great. The point that I'm bringing this up, though, is apparently Ape Fest is back in America in 2025. They've been to Portugal. They've been to Hong Kong, I think it was, but now they're bringing it back to the US of A, so we'll see how that fares. And this is just like a quick little video of somebody had outside of Ape Fest in New York, where they had the big Curtis statue. It was on the pier. It was pouring rain. We were there. And again, they had 4 different days, and there was such a demand for it that you had to like bid on tickets, and there was different events. And so on like the last day that had like Snoop Dogg, Eminem, all these crazy ones, we actually went to the New York Yankees game. I forget who they were facing, but Pixel Vault had different like side events, and a lot of different communities, companies out there did, and it was a really, really, really fun time. Quick video here. Again, this is one of the people that are also doing a mint on the Root Network, the Recon Haulers. We're not playing the whole thing. We'll just play the beginning.
Yes, sir.
All right, so if you find Recon Haulers kind of interesting here, again, it's a whole bunch of trucks that go into it. It was a very short video here, so we're trying to keep them short, tight, straight to the point. And, you know, as a side point, think about if you're out there trying to do something. You know what I mean? Yo, Navi, what's going on? I want to see a Web3 version of Liar Bars, fun VR table game. Thank you for adding that it's a fun VR table game, because I had no idea what the hell Liar Bar is. Okay, I got to look that up, but hell yeah. What do you think about VR as a whole, by the way? But back to the point is, you know, for people that are coming through and trying to do different mints, and like, let's say this team's coming through and they're a part of like Dune Crew, which is one of like the guilds that's around the network and whatnot. But if these people are coming through, right, and they're like, hey, we have something, we want to like try to share it with people. How do you even start in 2025? It's like, okay, do you do like cold outreach to try to just be like a community member within these things and like get it out there? And it's weird because like it's a self-reflection almost to myself of, you know, people coming through and they're like, hey, yo, Shill, can we do an interview? Can we highlight things? And it's like, all right, like, sure. But at the same time, it's like, where else are they going to get kind of exposure of people that are open to things? I mean, you look at a lot of content creators out there, they all have these rate sheets where they want to do stuff for like a lot of money. And like, you know, you try to do stuff for free to help out everybody. But then at the same time, you're like, hold on, do we try to be greedy and be like, no, we're only going to do this if you end up giving a whole bunch of money, right? But it's great vibes. LTNFT is an absolute chat on this. And really hope you guys do enjoy that video if you want to check it out. So speaking of Pixel Vault, the Founders DAO, this is one of the original DAOs in the space. And I was so critical of the ApeCoin DAO because they were giving out so much money and it seemed like it was just kind of like And so the Founders DAO had this Lost Robbie NFT that was sold for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the reason that they sold that was to buy a ticker like GG for like good game because they have the reboot protocol and that's what the token is. And they spent like insane amounts of money on it. So then there's this new proposal that is about doing a Founders DAO event in Las Vegas and then giving out GG to the people that like can't attend this. But they're wanting to spend like the entire treasury to go and gamble in Las Vegas and have like a one big hurrah, we spent the money. Now, this is a proposal, right? Like this doesn't mean that this is going to pass or anything, but it's like, man, we see so many things in the space and it just feels like why are we putting funds into things that aren't like the best use case for it? And that's why anytime I talk about DAOs, I'm like, anytime you can avoid that for the most part, probably a good idea. So Ronaldinho, we highlighted the other day where he was talking about Solana. Never goes well with these celebrities. News, Brazilian soccer star legend Ronaldinho has launched his own crypto, Star 10. The token aims to connect fans with exclusive experiences, but skepticism remains after past controversies and crypto projects linked to the star. I mean, that guy just like rugs everything. We don't even know if he's in control of his account. Maybe some agency's paying for it. I don't know. And then it was brought up again that like the token immediately rugged. Of course. And this is where it goes back to the point of like, man, in theory, it sounds cool. Where could you spend money to connect with somebody that you really, really like? Like think of Steve Carell in The Office, all right? And I don't know why, but like my news feed, for whatever reason, has a whole bunch of clips about The Office. We have Brian Baumgartner's his name, the guy that plays Kevin, and he drops the chili and all that kind of stuff. And he's on podcasts, and you get to replay these clips. And I was like, man, I rewatched The Office so many times at a point. Like this is maybe 2-3 years ago when it was like really hot. Like I didn't do anything except for watch that, right? My free time. It was like, man, what do you imagine of like connecting with Steve Carell or something? Like, how do you even go about doing that unless you're able to go to like some signing event? In theory, this is the perfect world where there's some kind of like crypto, the gates are down, the barriers aren't there. But then all these people come through and just do the stupidest shit all the time. The only one that I can think of that has done any longevity is Des Bryant's Personal Corner. Wow, that's an interesting one because Des Bryant also like had his apes scammed from him, and I forget what happened with that. Is he still doing stuff with the Personal Corner? Because I know that it was connected through Gutter. I think there was some massive drama between people, which always is like the worst thing of like why something fails because there's internal drama. But you believe he is? Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember that. I remember the ape situation very, very vividly. I've never owned a VR headset, but I see potential in VR games and experiences. Hell, well, I mean, okay. So have you ever gone on YouTube and like looked up the McDonald's like POV when they're like on like a breakfast like lunch rush or whatever? It's like super fascinating, but at the same time, it's like, all right, now I want to go ahead and get like McDonald's, but it's a cool POV because you don't get to experience it. And I think with the virtual reality idea is that you can experience it, right? Where there's like race cars, sports games, boxing, whatever. I think that is a really, really cool concept. But from the headsets being too expensive to batteries not lasting right to not enough experiences on these things, I very much agree that it feels like, there's potential there, but it's not been hit yet. In case you missed it, here are 10 cool things that Pengu has done in 2025. All right. So we recently hit 100 billion impressions across all our social channels. So put that into perspective, 300 million people see and share the Pudgy Penguin every day. I mean, I would maybe start with like the 300 million per day versus like the 100 billion, because that's actually crazy that amount happens every single day. And I have seen it. I'm not sure if you guys have, but I've definitely seen where I have like friends that aren't, Web3 native at all using that in chats with me or just on the timeline in general. And I'm like, they have no idea where that's from. They partnered with Line Friends, which is a really big brand out there. I thought that one was cool. They have Pez coming in 2025. Very nice. Blind boxes. So this was interesting because I feel when they first launched their toys, they didn't look that good quality. And I think there was people that were like kind of concerned about that, but this one looks like a little bit better. So that's good. Coinbase listed Pengu and also Robinhood listed Pengu today, I believe, if you haven't seen them. They license Incentive3 through our partnerships with Basic Fun and other places. So these are, I think there's one of these things in the mall, actually, where I am. I got to go look and see if they got Pudgy Penguins in there, but noticed that shop the other day. They have Polar Challenge machines that I haven't seen specifically. They've got world events. The Asian huddle showed their strength. Oh, yeah. So that was actually crazy. There was a whole bunch of like live events they did around the Pudgy community, and those were like nuts. And on the big screen during CD Castleton game. So I don't know who the heck that is, and I can't read what language that La Liga Hypermotion. Is that in La Liga? I feel like La Liga teams would have more than 55K followers. But either way, still super cool that that is the case. And then that's a final post, and beware of scams. True. Okay, so I saw this on my timeline. It said ambassador call. Join the OV crew. Not to be confused with like OVO from Drake. But this is something to do with like Ape Chain and about content creation. So I actually haven't watched this, but let's see if they can chill us.
Hey, g'day guys, it's Phil Watkins from Ovi. I wanted to give you a brief introduction to the...
Okay, so first of all, the intro music was super loud going into his mic that needs to be cranked up a lot.
Ambassador program that is literally about to launch here on Ovi. Look, it goes without saying, the Ovi platform is ready for use today. If you want to go on that platform, ovi.live, and use it for public or private conference calls, podcasts.
They need to have like video over this right now, like show like him talking about this doesn't do anything for me.
Creating content, getting the audio files, the video, it's all yours, very much available today. What we're looking for this ambassador program is to work with key individuals within the industry to give you first-hand early access to features such as our AI editing tooling systems, which are coming up.
Show the tooling.
Streaming capability. So
show what that is. Okay, all right, we're done. We're done already. Listen, guys, if you're doing videos or promos, we got to have stuff on the screen, explain it. Don't just have a guy sitting there. We got no music bed. We got no camera action. We got no visuals. What are we doing? What are we doing? Hit up the Schiller. Let me know. We can fix that for you 100%. Let me know. I'm more focused on the ape behind him. Yeah, I agree. Good take. Justin, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says, I expect many of the G20 nations to take notice and eventually follow America's leadership for a Bitcoin reserve. So that was announced last night going into the crypto press conference roundtable today. Bitcoin completely dropped after the announcement was made last night, and that it ended up having a recovery. I think that these headlines are something not to ignore from a couple of different aspects. But just the stigma around this is changing if we have nation states across the board like, hey, yeah, let's get into this. Also, we are live on Abstract, of course. So, yeah, if you want to check that out, it's portal.abs.xyz/stream/Schiller. And see what it did there? You notice how I like just read that out, and there's no hope in hell you would ever remember that URL without me putting it on the screen. So that's kind of the thing with the video guy we just looked at. Like, realize don't waste your time on things. And that's a self-reflection here, because I knew that, but I wanted to make the point. All right, so let's see what we have to say here from David Saxo, White House, AI and crypto SAR.
Of the American people.
Just going into what's in the holding of the US government, going back to what President Trump mentioned over the weekend, talking of Ripple, Solana, other alternative coins that people are wondering whether they're going to be included.
Ripple, Solana, and other coins. It's XRP, people. Like, what are we doing?
Included in this stockpile. Will they? Does the US own them? Why mention them by the president?
Well, the president just mentioned the top 5 cryptocurrencies by market cap. So I think people are just reading into this a little bit too much. He just mentioned the top 5. In terms of what we'll actually have, again, we have.
Okay, so that's it was only mentioned because those are the top 5. So it's about relatability, understanding. Is that to get people aware of that, or simply just because that's the top?
Do the accounting. We're not sure, sitting here today, whether the federal government owns any of these alternative cryptocurrencies. We know it owns Bitcoin. I believe it owns some Ethereum. I'm not sure about the other ones. This is why we have to do the accounting, is that, to be honest, no one's been able to give us a straight answer yet in terms of what the federal government owns. And this is part of the problem, is that we've never really had a digital asset strategy before. And this is why we've, missed out on accumulating a lot of value for the American people.
So that's interesting that they're calling it value, right? I mean, that's always good. But ADA is not top 5. Yo, Navi cook 'em. Sheesh, unbelievable. All right, we got more
Brian
news.
Armstrong last night ahead of this summit today, and he's one of the members who's been advising the Trump transition team since the campaign trail, and he made the point that he thinks a lot of countries are going to follow. I know of already Middle Eastern countries, Gulf states that have been looking into a Bitcoin buying strategy. There's also reportedly conversations within the Chinese government to look to follow suit if the government in the U.S. makes this move to roll out a purchase plan.
But there is no purchase plan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if you have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, China used to be one of the epicenters for Bitcoin mining. It's very easy for them. They have all of this hydropower, and so they already have all the facilities, and they banned it a couple years ago, but it takes nothing to turn it back on. And then, I mean, similar to Iran evading sanctions by just mining Bitcoin, they already have it on hand.
Right, but if we're
Talking to Brian Armstrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, if everybody else jumps on board, that's that's not too shabby. But interesting seeing so many news headlines highlighting what's going on with this. And we're sitting here being like, yeah, we talked about it for a while and different components of it, but it seems like it's just getting bigger and bigger every single day. But T-Doge, Corwin, Navi, that's it for the circus of the day. It's Friday. Hope you guys have a phenomenal weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in as per usual. Corwin, appreciate you dropping that primer as well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday and then a Saturday and then Sunday, and we'll see you back here on Monday. A reminder, once again, if you do want to listen to more other content that's focused a little bit more on the RWA side of things, of course, listen to the RWA Segments podcast in the description below on YouTube or on my link on X bio. You get the idea. Tito's Corwin. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. We'll talk soon. Peace.